Right, hi everyone. This is the Elite Sports Travel Podcast with myself, Vernon Kay, Darren Fletcher and Neil Reynolds, and a very special guest joining us a little bit later on in the pod. And as we are speaking, we are live in a bar on the Strip in Las Vegas, because this is the culmination of our LA Rams, Seattle Seahawks, Vegas Raiders and Dallas Cowboys trip. And I've got to say, I know we're going to get into it when Coisty, the fun boy, party boy, arrives. But this trip, Fletch, has been something else.
It has. First and foremost, it's the Extra Point podcast. I just thought we'd get that in there at the start.
What did I say? Elite Sports?
Yeah, when he said it.
It's by Elite
Same
Sports.
thing.
Hey,
Same thing.
They knew what you meant, Vern.
He's on the payroll, Neil. He's completely on the payroll.
I'll tell you what it is, I ain't going to lie. It's the Vegas hangover.
It is.
That's what it is.
How real is it?
It's severe.
Is it?
Neil. Yeah.
Did we mention at this point that he lost his phone last night?
Lost my
I
phone.
think you should get it out there. We're amongst
Lost my
friends.
phone yesterday and lost my wallet today. So
Did you?
I am stranded in Vegas. So I'll be thumbing a lift after this to
See,
get
there
home.
are parts of life where it's good to go to bed at 9:15. It means the rest of your life's really sad, but you don't lose your phone.
It's very,
Did
very
you?
true.
Did you lose the phone intentionally or unintentionally?
No one needs to lose the most pivotal, essential part of anyone's modern day life.
But you said to me Tom Brady used to lose a phone a year.
Only when he didn't want the NFL to read his messages.
Exactly, you see? You see?
Yeah, no, it's been an amazing trip, and obviously we should mention our esteemed audience that we've got, everyone that joined us on the trip, which was something else. It really was special, and
That's
I think
where we have sound effects and you give yourselves a round of applause.
yeah, there you go, there we go, there they are. And
That's
it's
the
nice.
quietest they've been for the entire trip.
It really, they're camera shy. That's what it is, Fletch, and microphone shy. But it's a real pleasure and it is an honour to spend time with fellow fans of the NFL, because that's what this is all about. And it's nice to share opinions, nice to hear people's voices and what they think about the current state of the game, which we should get straight into it. We experienced on Sunday the Rams versus the Seahawks, two huge teams, equal records, people saying that this is where it's going to come down to, a massive game. And it was as exciting as we expected it to be. A last-second missed field goal by the Seahawks clinched it for the Rams. Fletch, what was your take?
Well, first and foremost, we were all just about dry from Saturday because you two managed to avoid USC in the rain on Saturday, which was a great experience, and we all shared both the pain and the pleasure, the cold and the happiness. But look, Saturday, I saw the power rankings this morning, and the team they got at number 10 was Seattle, and the team they got at number 1 were the Rams. But the point was made that on a neutral field, it's probably a 4-point game. The gap between the supposed best team in the league right now in the Rams and a team that they beat on Sunday is very small. And they were saying that realistically there might be 14 teams that would feel right now that they can win a Super Bowl that we might talk about a little bit later on. But from a Rams-Seahawks perspective, my view is this: if you're the Rams, you feel good about it because you've won, right? And you know what you are. You know you've got a good head coach. You know you've got a Super Bowl winning quarterback. You know you've got the pieces. You know your defense is good. Devontae Adams on a tear. So everything in the Rams garden is rosy. But I think if you got back on the buses and went to Seattle on Sunday night, having seen your quarterback throw 4 interceptions and still have the chance to win the game on the road against the best team in the league with a field goal, I think when in the cold light of day, when they take it all in, I think they'll feel pretty good about themselves, Seattle.
I'm surprised Seattle were that low at 10. I thought that going into this game, that was the two best teams in football, and the winner would...
Really? You go that high on Seattle?
I think Seattle are for real. That defense, I think, is really, really strong. That's probably one of the most struggling games you're going to see from Stafford this year. He'd been so red hot. So I think Seattle, I think they'll meet. They could very likely meet again in the NFC Championship game. I think Seattle are that good. I did have the concern, and it sounds a bit like, well, of course you're going to say that now, but I picked the Rams. I have to write a column to pick the games every week, and I couldn't separate them. Both got good defenses, both complete. But I picked the Rams just because I don't trust Darnold in the big games. And that's what we saw was the 4 interceptions.
Do you think that's why they're number 10 then? They kind of look at it, look bigger picture. You get to the playoffs, you know what you're going to get from Stafford.
Especially how Darnold ended last year with Minnesota. 14-3 record, poor against Detroit in the playoffs, in the week 18, poor against the Rams in the playoffs. So I think Seattle are going to have to get back on that roll and prove themselves again. But I do think they're right there with the Rams. One other thing, pain and pleasure. That was the club where you lost your phone, wasn't it?
Sorry?
I tell you what, that's good for you. If you give him time, he comes up with that kind of stuff.
It took me 4 minutes.
We were timing that.
I'm just a bit slow. I'll get there eventually.
The thing is, I'm surprised he mentioned it because he walked out with me.
Of course he did. Of course he did. Let me give you, you know I like the numbers, right? What about this for a number? So Matthew Stafford, after the win on Sunday, as an NFL starting quarterback now, is 116, 115, and 1. And having been drafted first overall by Detroit out of Ohio State all that time ago. It's the first time in his career he's had a winning record as an
That's
NFL
the Detroit
quarterback.
Lions effect early
The
on.
first time.
Yeah.
But you see all those bad Detroit
That's
teams.
Detroit. He was the one shining light on that team for years.
You see the MVP? Or was it Drake May? Is he the MVP right now? Right now.
He's the front runner by quite some distance.
Really?
Stafford, I think so.
You think?
I think and sometimes the numbers, that's where numbers are deceptive. Sometimes he's thrown for 200 odd yards and 4 touchdowns, but then he's not adding to those numbers because they're 30 odd points up. He's not like Jacoby Brissett the other day, completing 47 passes because he's down by 25 points. His numbers aren't going to look massively amazing, but no one's playing better than Matthew Stafford, right?
Do you know the mad thing is, Vern, when you look at him, the turnaround that he's had, if you think about it, it's not that long ago that he had the elbow surgery, couldn't throw the ball, couldn't get any velocity on the throws. There was talk that he might not even play for the Rams this year. There's a lot of things have happened with Stafford to get him now to where he is now. It's been quite a journey in a short space of time from essentially the outhouse to the penthouse again. You know what I mean? And here he is. Neil said he's the favourite for the MVP. He's the quarterback of the best team in the league. But it's not that long ago that it looked like he might be on the way out.
I think it's going to be interesting if he is MVP, if they do win another Super Bowl. It'll be interesting the conversation about, are the Detroit Lions lacking Matthew Stafford to become a Super Bowl contender? Right. So, you know, because that draft at the time was like, yeah, it's pretty much 50-50. We'll take that. You have Goff, you have Stafford, it's fine. But I think with the performance that he's put in now, and
Stafford went straight to the Rams and won a Super Bowl his first year.
There you go.
But you've got a better brain for this than we have. What did they use? Who did they take in the draft? Because they got Goff and picks, didn't they?
They had
Detroit?
Penei Sewell, I think, was in that.
Right.
Among that. Can't remember where else. I mean,
so I'm kind of thinking bigger. How they put the roster together.
To put everything together. I mean, I just think it goes back to quarterbacks. I think that is a question that will come up.
Yeah.
Goff, I think, and Detroit have lost a bit of their magic, I think, this year.
It's called Ben Johnson.
It is called Ben Johnson because John Morton took over the play calling. And when you're an offensive coordinator in your first year, you're looking to establish yourself. You get to week 10 and the head coach says, no, I'm going to do that. What's your job as an offensive coordinator now? So everything in the NFL, because we do it in the media, everything, and I'm sure it happens in football as well, everything is against a backdrop of something. So like everything that the Lions do offensively is against the backdrop of, look what they did with Ben Johnson. JJ McCarthy with Minnesota. Everything's like, but you had Sam Darnold. You let him go. You didn't go after Aaron Rodgers. Now this kid's struggling. There's always like a kind of bigger picture. So I think the Stafford Goff thing is something that people would revisit.
Definitely. And he took a massive pay cut, didn't he? Past off season.
And the Super Bowl Goff lost, which was against the Patriots. I remember we were in the Sky Studios and they cut to the national anthem and they cut to a close-up of Jared Goff and it looked like he was about to wet himself.
Oh, he was petrified.
And I was just like, and I know it's only an image. And
we noticed that though, didn't we? We were there for that one in the stadium.
And he did. He laid an egg in the biggest of games.
Just going to make the point. He can remember detail. I can barely remember the day.
It's a bit different when you're in the studio, Fletch.
Yeah, it is. And also, whenever Fletch and I are at a Super Bowl, we do go with our friend Bud and Light.
Yeah. It's a bit lively, mate.
Yeah, it gets a bit rowdy.
lively.
But it was an interesting game, and we've got to talk about it because everyone in the room experienced it. That stadium is off the charts. It's so good. Like, you get there and there's just space everywhere. Space to just let people mill around. You've got all the facilities. There's no queue for the bathroom. The food is ridiculous. We had Korean chicken and rice with vegetables.
I've
Never experienced that in
normally a
any
dry old
NFL
hot dog.
stadium before.
It's a long way from Bolton, mate.
I know. But it just goes to show you that, and we were talking about it with Coisty, is it's not just the game.
No.
And that's the difference. The NFL gives you a whole morning tailgating, and then it gives you the whole afternoon. And we've been really privileged to experience SoFi Stadium and then the Allegiant here with the Raiders. Fantastic.
Hey, what about you? On Sunday, you managed to nick a little auction item as well.
Yes. Don't know any enormous, Neil.
The in-stadium auction.
Once again, with my mates Bud and Light, there's a stall with lots of signed shirts. And I love a decent free safety. And they had a Troy Polamalu USC shirt signed. And, you know, you stagger up, you think,
Bruce Forsyth, the game.
Good guy.
Good
So
shot.
I put my name down for the shirt, and then 24 hours later, got an email saying, congratulations, you've won. I was like, damn, she's going to kill me.
That's getting framed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, the stadium, magnificent. You're exactly right. And they're different, aren't they? The two of them. I think I enjoyed SoFi as a venue a little bit more because of that freedom that you speak about. Everything was on point. The best thing about it is, as well, you get to a Premier League ground, can't get a drink at half time, queues, food's not great. I mean, there's that many different options in these stadiums that just whatever you want, whenever you want it, go and have it.
Yeah, it's great. And we were lucky that we went and saw Adam afterwards, Adam Dirty. And I'm not going to say anything apart from he was fuming.
Yeah.
Fuming.
Yeah.
Well, that's one reason why they are still a contender. That is defense. They play bullying style of defense. They're not going away, Seattle. And to your point, Darnold won't have many games, you would think, where he'd throw 4 interceptions.
No, I don't think so. I think there's a little bit of a knee-jerk on Sam Darnold.
Yeah, because there's a certain narrative. There's because people say, well, he did it here, he failed here.
But it's against that defense twice. I wonder whether that's his Achilles heel. I don't know what they do that's different to everybody else, because he had the horrendous playoff game against them in Minnesota last season. He's had nothing like that this year as a Seahawk until he plays them again on
another
Sunday.
chance to figure it out.
Yeah, there's plenty of film to watch between now and then. What about last night? Let's talk about last night as well, because last night, literally 10 yards behind Geno Smith, maddest place. Everybody had a brilliant time down there.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So we went into the bowels of the stadium and we were sat on the 50-yard line. No, stood on the 50-yard line. We were stood literally on the 50-yard line, and we get there and then we're told that beverages and food, it's all complimentary. Enjoy yourself, have a great time. Where are the seats? There are no seats. You're stood on the 50-yard line, pretty much. And we were waiting. You know, you take it all in because it takes you a while in an NFL stadium to take it all in because there's little things going on everywhere. And then all of a sudden, a whistle went for end of warm-ups, and the Raiders and the coaching staff all came towards us. And everyone, the whole party, huge intake of air, like, they're coming!
Especially when Kate saw Brock Bowers. That was the biggest intake of the night, I think.
But it was so good. I mean, fantastic. It was just, that's probably my best NFL stadium experience.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And you didn't even need to, it sounds crazy this, because you go to the stadium to watch the game, but you didn't need to be able to see the game.
You were in it.
From where we were, exactly.
You're in it.
You quite happily watch it on the screen because you've got the players stood in the way.
Yeah.
But it was...
The Raiders sideline was 10 yards away from us. Yeah. So we could hear all the prittle-prattle with the coaches. And, you know, I love the high intensity of the game going on the field. And then you just look up and it's there on the telly.
Prittle-prattle.
Prittle-prattle.
The abuse being held at Geno Smith.
Hey, he got some, though.
I know.
He fired back a couple of times.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Is that legit? The picture I saw today that he turned up in a dustbin last night before the game?
Did he?
It said Geno is trash on it.
No.
Yeah.
That's AI, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. He's walking in.
Well,
You could do anything in
he
AI,
is
Darren.
quite...
Can you?
Yeah.
So he is...
So you've used that before, that excuse.
you could enjoy pleasure and pain.
He is a quarterback who's not afraid to bite back and say, you guys don't rate me.
He seems to be a quarterback afraid to throw to his own team at the minute. That's the bigger concern.
Yeah, I mean, he could have thrown something at us and probably would have missed, even though we were only 10 yards away.
So let me throw this at you both then. It's a controversial view, right? So Jerry Jones has been hammered, completely hammered. Always seems to wait too long before he gives a contract out, then he's got to overpay. So they're always in cap hell. Situation this year, Micah Parsons came to a head, trades Micah Parsons away, gets Kenny Clark and a couple of picks, and everybody thinks he's terrible. Defense stinks for the early weeks of the season. Jerry then makes 2 deals. Logan Wilson from the Bengals, Quinnen Williams from the Jets. Quinnen Williams, 1.5 sacks last night. Looked all pro standard. Again, next to Kenny Clark last night. The point was made on the telly this morning. It's a young offense. They've spent draft picks on the offensive line. 2 good wide receivers. Quarterback's fine. Javonte Williams looks like Denver's Javonte Williams. He's got a serviceable tight end. And they've got 2 picks in the first round of the draft coming up. So they need a bit more of an impact on defense. But the narrative now seems to have changed that maybe Jerry's not completely balls this up, that maybe, just maybe, you can see what the plan is with the Dallas Cowboys, even without Micah Parsons.
Well, you've got...
Go on. Before you get into the nitty-gritty and the prattle, Dallas are always in this scenario, it seems. They're always at this phase. They never kick on. Remember the back end of Tony Romo's career, when Dak was on the cusp? It was like they've built this team for Dak Prescott.
They are younger now, though. If you look at the offense, it's a young offense
But it's
now.
the same backdrop, as Neil said earlier on. It's always the same, Fletch. They just can't kick
30
on.
years since they were last in a championship game.
But it won't last forever. They will get it right at some stage. It's not always going to be like this. And if you look at it now, he's got a decision to make on George Pickens in the offseason. Do you pay him? He'll wait till the final night.
Played
before
well
the
last
season.
night.
Exactly.
I mean, you should based on the play, but there's a reason he was... Great players, when they're 25, 26, don't get let go by a team like the Steelers unless there's a lot of stuff. I'll use that word and there was a lot of stuff with George Pickens. So you've got to wait and see how he plays out with the Cowboys. But on the field, production-wise, I said to you when we were watching the game last night, I said that's the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. Yeah. Or is it? You certainly put them in the conversation now.
So can you see...
I can see...
The positives.
Yes,
because this was the big narrative on the television here this morning. That maybe it's not as bad as it seems.
Micah Parsons was a proven commodity, a game changer. He could win games for you, especially at that position. Most important position, quarterback. Second most important position, whoever goes after the quarterback. So my thing is, what do you get with the 2 draft picks or however many?
Let's say he gets an edge rusher and a shutdown corner.
Yeah, but even then, but the draft is, even in the first round, you're shooting like a 50% success rate. So Quinnen Williams is a proven commodity, but you don't win Super Bowls with a defensive tackle. So yes, it's a if. You can see he's positioned himself to give it a go, but he already had the bird in the hand with Micah Parsons.
Who didn't want to be there, though.
No, and Jerry didn't want to lose him. But Jerry made that mistake. Jerry started directly negotiating. He literally shut the door of the office and started offering a contract to Micah Parsons without his agent.
Without his agent. It's so Jerry, though, that, isn't it?
That is so Jerry. And he'll love the fact we're talking about it sitting in a bar on the Strip in Las Vegas, because as long as we're talking about the Cowboys, he's happy.
I must say, when I saw it this morning, it made a lot of sense. Made a lot of sense because you start now to look at pieces, age, and a plan. And to be honest, you couldn't see any plan.
No.
But now you can at least see what progress might look. And by the way, they're a million miles in front of the Raiders, aren't they? I mean,
it wasn't. It was a stroll. That was a stroll. Dak Prescott was sharp. The receivers are good. You mentioned Javonte Williams he's better than the Denver standard. Yes. That's the best he's ever played. So that offense is fine. If the defense can be middle of the road, that would be enough. They just probably potentially got themselves into too big a hole. Big games coming up.
They're also in a division with Philly as well, I suppose.
Yeah,
and
so
the NFC, by the way,
card.
right now is coming round. I mean, it's not that long ago where the AFC seemed a million miles in front of the NFC. But now you've got a situation where the improving teams now seem, a lot of them are NFC
And
teams.
if Washington hadn't lost their quarterback,
they'd be in the mix
they'd
as
be
well.
in the mix.
100%.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would.
100%.
That's the key. That's the key, though. He's got his quarterback. Yeah. You know, the thing, if you're going to contend, you've got to have a top 10 quarterback, top 12 quarterback. Dak's just about there. I know he's a little bit inaccurate at times, but...
I was going to quote you.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not a big fan of Dak Prescott.
No. I think he needs wide receivers with big catch
big reach. Yeah. I think he's having a good season. I think he's had good seasons in the past when he's not been injured. You can win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott, I think.
It's whether you can win a Super Bowl with Jerry Jones, mate. That's the problem.
I gave you that stat before, that killer stat. They were in the first 30 Super Bowls, Dallas played in the NFC Championship game 16 times. So more than half of the first 30 Super Bowls, Dallas were playing for the right to get to the Super Bowl. The last 30, they haven't been in one. That is crazy for a team that's as big and should be as aggressive and as bold as they are. But there is a plan, but the draft is a lottery. So we won't know.
Shall we bring in Ali McCoist?
Come on, Ali McCoist.
Ali McCoist!
Yes, Ali McCoist. Here he is.
Right, the show can start.
Shall I do that thing on the telly where they move along?
Yeah, whatever.
No, you stay there.
Well, one of the big reasons we've not brought Ali in straight away is he's hardly got any voice left.
No,
after
I've
the
got
first
it.
shot.
Gone.
Yeah.
Voice is gone.
That's a combination
I loved it. I was listening to you guys there.
Yeah.
And the first thing you got to say, one experience. I mean, what a 4 or 5 days we've had. And the football's been brilliant. I loved the college game. I really wanted to go to a college game. I loved it. Rams are my team, so obviously I enjoyed that. Last night was special because where we were to watch that was special. I was saying to the big fella, when you watch sport and you watch elite sports people and you see them close up, that's the difference. Right. You know, I think you watch golf on the telly, you watch all the sports on the telly, it doesn't really give you a true indication of the speed, the strength, the tactics. So to be there last night, it took me back being pitch side, and it was magic. I loved it.
Just out of interest, did the voice completely go at Kieran Tierney's goal or McLean's goal?
I think you'll find it went when Myers missed that penalty. And the kick for the Rams to win, that's when it went.
So for everyone
struggling
listening
ever since.
on the podcast, we should reiterate that we've just watched Denmark lose to Scotland, which means that Scotland have now qualified for the World
It's
Cup.
effectively the perfect ending to a perfect trip.
Yeah. And let me just make the
Brilliant.
point. The Scots right now aren't seeing it as we've just seen Denmark lose to Scotland. They're seeing it, we've just seen Scotland beat Denmark. That's
Did you notice that? Did you notice that?
Yeah. So it was I've had an eventful hour and a half, I can tell you that.
It was a joy to watch you in the stadium last night. I wasn't in LA, so I only just arrived last night. And when you came on the podcast a few weeks ago, and Fletcher said, "Oh, Ali's a NFL fan. He's a Rams fan." And before I'd even spoken to you, I was like, "Yeah, but is he?" Because I hear it all the time.
Yeah,
I get it all the time. So and so's a fan. And then talking to you on the podcast, I could tell you did love it, and you were really looking forward to it. And then last night, I felt it. You could and you could see and you would have been involved in some of the biggest sporting occasions, biggest sporting moments, and then you two have commentated on them. You've been there. So actually to see you a bit like a kid was really refreshing.
I've got to say, I genuinely was. Being down pitch side at that level where you can hear the hits, for example, you just feel the vibe and the acceleration. It's just, and you guys must have absolutely loved it, you know, because we're very, very lucky to be in that position last night, because it's a different game, I think, there than it is up in the stands, much as the stadiums are absolutely out of this world.
Yeah. And we had a 90s throwback with our halftime shows.
Yes.
That's the first halftime show in about 20 years I've been to where I've known at least 2 songs.
Really? Was it?
That was a result
the
for me.
previous one was Bucks Fizz.
Still making his mind up. Come on. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
What I would say
Thank
about
you.
his excitement and enjoyment, I've never seen anybody as giddy, apart from me, and I've actually not been the biggest
Giddy as a
spender.
newt, or
Coisty in the Rams club shop was a sight to behold.
Yeah.
Well, you should have
A
seen Neil.
sight to
You should have
behold.
seen Neil in Pleasure and Pain.
He was a sight
I
to
went
behold.
crazy, yeah. I spent a few quid in there.
You did.
The boys have all got tops. I even bought Viv a hat, so Viv's got a hat to wear when she gets back. So there you go.
Let me ask you, Ali, like you guys have visited so many football stadiums, right, around Europe. And, you know, there's the good, the bad, and there's definitely the ugly. Do you think that kind of facility that we've seen this weekend, SoFi Stadium, which is going to host some World Cup games,
Yeah.
I do believe,
Yeah, it
the
is.
Allegiant Stadium, which
We're
is
going to
one
be
of the-
there. I don't know if I told you, Scotland are going to be at that World Cup.
And the Allegiant, which is one of the newest. Do you think that kind of facility will ever take off? You've got...
Do you know the one thing, Vern? The one problem is space.
Yeah.
You know, we went to that stadium, and I loved last night's, right? And I'm probably a little bit biased, but Saturday Stadium, Ram Stadium, is one of the best I've ever been in. And obviously the facility, the playing surface is fantastic, but it's the whole area around it. As you mentioned, we're walking about, we're in 2.5 hours before kick-off. You can sit on a beer and a bladder and you're not cramped. I mean, I'd love to, but I think we play at it a little bit back in the UK. I really, really do. Because when you go to these sporting occasions over here, it's a day out, but it's an event. You know, the whole thing's an event. And from start to finish, I mean, you're right, we were in that club shop running riot, actually, before the game, then with a beer and with a good chat for about an hour. And
we watched the games on the big screens, didn't we?
You're
Watched
not
the games.
cramped. You know, you're not cramped.
No.
I mean, even, I tell you what didn't spoil it for me as well, the day before, and it genuinely didn't, was the weather.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was raining at the college game. USC, the weather was really poor. But we got our week of goals on, and away we went. So,
just on the fact you keep saying that Scotland in the World Cup, just going back to your point, the last time they were there in 1998, Dallas was still good.
They were. Crikey, they were still contenders.
It's been a while.
They were.
I think SoFi is the gold standard in the NFL. I think that's the reason.
I think it's a gold standard in the world.
Yeah. I think
You know the difference though, you've got to get your revenue in. Because if you think about a Premier League team, they're going to play 19 home games minimum, cup matches as well. If you're a European team, you're adding 4 more on minimum if you're in the Champions League. So you're probably thinking nearer 30. They've got 8.
which is why
So you've got to get the revenue in. You've got to have that ability to get as much revenue in as you can on that.
Did you guys see anything over the games that we were at that's changed your opinion on how the season's going to go? For example, you know, I know the Rams won the game. I'm thinking to myself, you know, Darrell's throwing 4 interceptions, and I'm saying to myself, I can't believe they've got a kick to win the game.
I know. Right.
So, and I'm thinking to myself,
Ali, on that, and it was. We said it at the start. There's that many teams now. There's probably 14 teams that legitimately sit there at this stage, and the quote was this morning. This is the NFL version of Adam Silver's NBA. The NBA is as open as it's ever been now, and you can kind of turn it on and you're not really sure. Even the teams that aren't great, the Cleveland Browns right now, they're not a team that wins many games, but they're not easy to beat. Right. And there's a lot of parity, maybe more so. And there's a lot of teams now going into the playoffs that there's such a fine margin between the two. And I don't know whether Seattle could play the Rams 10 times. What it'd be like as a...
Well, that's the difference between the NBA is it's going to be a one-game thing. Once we get to the playoffs, could Buffalo get knocked out by Jacksonville? Yes. Yeah. Buffalo just lost to the Dolphins. Jacksonville just blew out the Chargers. Like we saw it last year with Washington take down Detroit. So that's why I think we were going to talk about Kansas City a little bit at 5-5. If I'm one of the AFC teams, I'm terrified if Kansas City get in because Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, they'll figure it out on the day.
But here's the difference with them. Last season, I think they were unbeaten in one-score games. They're 0-5 in one-score games.
That's why I told you to enjoy it as a Bears fan this year because the Bears are winning. Because it evens out.
Minnesota were the same, weren't they?
Right.
So you've got a situation where they're 5-5. The 5 losses are in one-score games. So again, is your glass half full? Is it half empty? When you're looking at KC, because it's easily remedied if they get that bit of magic back. Denver have been the team for winning one-score games, and they're top of that division. So there's not a lot,
I think it all balances itself out, doesn't it? Those close. If you're living on the edge like that with the close wins, law of averages, you're going to lose some of them. You know, I was asking you about Liverpool the other time you were on because they're my team in the Premier League. They started out with late win after late win, then they had late loss after late loss. So they kind of balance out. I think when you have that as the Bears, you just feel like in that season, like it won't balance out next year. But for now, the Bears just feel like they've got the magic sauce. Confidence is a huge thing in any sport.
Massive.
Right? Belief.
Absolutely. Confidence and momentum.
Yeah.
I think two massive
Fergie
things.
did it for years, though, didn't he?
Who?
Fergie.
Oh,
Man
absolutely.
United, for years, they get a late goal because they
100%.
thought they were going to get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the opposition thought they were going to get it, which was as important, you know?
But it's interesting that we've mentioned on past podcasts that it's no longer the Eagles and the Chiefs.
No.
Do you know what I mean? We're now looking at the fact that we could possibly have, I'll take our team, the Chicago Bears, maybe versus the Chargers. Do you know what I mean? Because everyone's in there, and it's great for the NFL because it shows the system is working. We've talked in depth about Dallas and their rebuilding, but now from a fan's perspective, it's not going to be for the love of God. It's the Chiefs. That Patriots.
I'm hoping I don't have to do another hour and a half build up to the Super Bowl talking about
just
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
as much as I love him and he's fantastic and he's great, you just want that other story.
I'll be honest with you, Neil. I think it's going to be the wedding that will probably take most attention away from
See
the
the
actual
links,
game
of the
itself.
game last night, guys. I'm watching him, and I thought Prescott was, very impressive. And I think I'm right fair in saying you're not 100% sold on him. How much of that game last night was down to the Cowboys being good, and the opposite being of the Raiders?
So I do think Dallas have got a very good offense. I think they could do that to most teams in the NFL. I think the difference was Dallas looked good on defense. Yeah. And that's because the Raiders didn't have very much to offer. So it's really hard because you get drawn in like to the most recent thing you've seen. I'm like, oh, Dallas might fight their way back here. And they certainly can offensively, but I still wonder if they've got enough on defense to do that because that's a poor Raiders team. I was watching, and again, because where we are, I just at one point, I can't remember who I said it to in the crowd. I said, you realise how many people I think it was you, Kate. I said, you realise how many players on a team you don't know? So this is a star-driven league. But then I think it was exacerbated by the fact the Raiders have got a really poor roster because I was like, know you, don't know. Yep, know you, don't know. That shouldn't be that way, really. You shouldn't have that many where you have that.
They look a mile behind. The head coach looks like he's the wrong head coach. I don't know whether Brady's too influential in decision-making processes when he's got no experience of it. They look like they need a top GM, a coach with a bit of hunger, and a Ben Johnson type, and they've got to get a quarterback from somewhere.
So I walked back over the bridge to our hotel last night, and even when I'm on my own, I think about the NFL. It's sad, isn't it? No. So I'm walking back, and I see the stadium off to the right, and the first thing I thought of was, why is Brady messing about with this? Yeah. Because there was no emotional tie. He never played for the Raiders. But I still think Pete Carroll can do a job.
And also, as a kid, he was a huge 49ers fan.
He was a 49ers fan.
So there's
no connection other than they're the only team that would have him. Feels like
he's not going to attach himself or want to attach himself to failure, is he? No. So there must be a plan. He must see something, surely.
It's really awkward though, because he goes in and watches film with the coaches every week. So he's putting his fingers in there in the pie.
But that's dangerous,
That is dangerous.
That is dangerous.
Well, that's why all the teams got worried about that.
Wait. Sorry, Neil. That's a little bit Jerry-itis.
Yeah, dangerous.
Jerry Jones, when you've got someone in the upstairs office tinkering with the football. And Jerry said that publicly, I want to be the head coach.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Tom Brady's a proven great quarterback. But
he will want that. No, it's fine. He will want that team. That team is crying out for a franchise quarterback because everything else will change. Jaden Daniels went to Washington and they went from a 4-win team to the NFC Championship game in 1 year. So, yes,
Neil,
you need all the other
bits. Now, Drake May.
Yeah.
Second year. Bo Nix, second year. Caleb Williams, second.
Yeah.
He can change in a hurry. Jackson Dart, rookie.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, by the way, the Raiders passed on Jackson Dart. He could have been a starting quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I know the year the Bo Nix draft and all of those, they kind of ran out of quarterbacks just before the Raiders were picking.
Yeah.
But
they could have had Dart this year.
So they could have had Jaden Daniels. You can go up as much as you want. You can give up future draft picks. And if the Raiders had given up 2 first-round picks or 3 first-round picks, but you found your franchise quarterback, you can cope all the other ways. You have to have the quarterback. If you don't have the quarterback, you are nowhere.
I wonder how the Bears are feeling about taking Mitchell Trubisky
over Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, they feel all right now, though,
History's littered with those, aren't they? Crikey. Yeah. They really are.
Let's kind of get the big one this week. And it's not something that you want to talk about, but I'm fascinated to get Ali's take on it as well as a former top professional in that regard. Jamar Chase spitting at Jalen Ramsey, denied it, lied about it, clear that he did it. Yeah. It's a 1-game suspension. I said earlier in the season with Jalen Carter, who didn't even get a game, by the way, that you've got to be suspended. And I think that the punishment has to be harsher than 1 game to spit in another man's face.
Well, we did that podcast, you and me, I asked you how many would you get in the Premier League, and you said you're looking at 6 to 8 games.
Of course you are, aren't you? If you spat in
easy, and you know something that warrants at least that.
Yeah.
I'd
rather you punch me in the face than spit on me.
Of course you would. But the only thing I would say, and it surprises me, we get more outrage about it than some other European countries, for example. Right? I'm not saying they condone it or allow it, but we correctly think it's one of the worst things you can do. And I'm with you, mate. I think 5, 6, 7 games. It has to be something like that because it's the lowest of the low. But you're right. You'd rather take one in the jaw from somebody than somebody spit in your face.
The interesting thing, that people listening to the podcast might not know how the process works. That when you get suspended a game, you lose the game check as well. And an NFL player,
I didn't know that.
That's 1/17 of your
an
salary.
NFL player gets 17 game checks, so you don't get paid after the season finishes. You get all your money over that, so you lose one. So it's over $500,000 that he's lost. So, I mean, in reality, I think he should have been thrown out for 3 or 4, at least, for doing that. And then the financial penalty is there as well.
Has there been a precedent before?
Yeah, the precedent is that Jalen Carter was thrown out right at the start, first play of the game, first play of the season, but didn't get a suspension because he'd missed the whole game.
They counted the missed game that he got ejected
as the game.
So which would never happen in any...
So he never lost his money either, did he?
No.
No, he didn't.
So
he
this,
did all right.
That's a Scotsman.
Right. So this, Cloistey, is a harsher penalty than the one they gave to Jalen Carter because it's a game check and it's a game. But the precedent has kind of been set that they can't go any further because they didn't ban the guy before. So for the NFLPA, they'll be appealing it if it's, and he's appealing it as well, by the way.
I wonder if, like, and you would know, again, you've been in these battles and these high intensity moments. Jamar Chase, when I look at that to me signals you're frustrated about the season and what's going on, and things boil up quicker than the Jalen Carter one. They hadn't even started the season, so that surprised me. But is it like that sometimes? Definitely. It's like a boiling kettle.
Well, definitely. And if you're the opposition and it happens to you, right? It's one of the it's one of the worst exams. But at the same time, the back of your mind, you're thinking, well, I've got him, haven't I? He's completely lost it.
Yeah.
So it's
a good thing. Did get mentioned this morning, and I'd not thought about this. Chris Canty was on the telly, the former defensive player. And he said the issue with this, if it doesn't get nipped in the bud, he said these guys have got so many entourages around them. And a lot of the entourages are made up of sometimes less than...
desirable people.
That's exactly the phrase I was looking for.
Right.
Yeah, and he said if this doesn't get nipped in the bud, this is the kind of problem that goes out of the locker room and goes into other areas where you don't want to go. So he was concerned about that.
I'm very respected on the streets. I can fix all that. I can kind of roll with all the groups.
I know that. I've heard that. You don't. If you ever need any protection in Kent, he's your man.
When Nelly started, he put on his plaster under his eye. Big fan. But you just don't do it, do you?
No,
I mean,
that's right.
There's unsportsmanlike conduct and there's unsportsmanlike conduct, and that is just
it's like an unwritten law, isn't it? You don't do that.
Do you know what surprises me though? You know, for a league that is so fixated on its image,
it's hard to get sent off in the NFL and to get banned.
Yeah, but it's so fixated on its image that they just kind of brush one of those under the carpet because the whole image of the NFL can't be that. I mean, you're not even allowed to take the mickey anymore. You get a penalty for taunting. So they kind of, I think they've got to have a look at it.
They would rather, they believe, I think, that their product is better if Jamar Chase is playing for the Bengals this Sunday.
Yeah.
They want the stars out there. I do think
it's a bad precedent to set.
It is a bad precedent, and it's very different when you watch our football and you see the suspensions that come. Like Josh Norman and Odell Beckham a few years back had a massive fight pre-game. It went into the game. They got a game each, and they came out with baseball bats in the pre-game. They came out with baseball bats.
I understand that it's a physical game. You'll have been on a football pitch where it's flared up.
Yeah.
It's what it is. It's testosterone. It's adrenaline.
Yeah.
It's aggression. It's the nature of the sport. Having a fight I can understand that. I can't understand the spitting. I don't get that. That to me, you can't go any lower. No. I understand it if two athletes want to get at it because the game dictates that might happen.
Yeah.
The alphas. The final, it is what it is.
It's a necessity in hockey.
You see it in hockey, don't you? You see the ones out my mouth.
Yeah.
There's not a better example in hockey.
Yeah.
But it is I think you're right, the NFL, and this is getting a bit too kind of in the weeds, but the NFL players, whatever celebration they do after a touchdown, high school kids are doing it on the Friday night. They're doing it in their pee-wee leagues. And you don't want that sort of stuff. Like my nephew plays like boys football. He takes corners, he'll do that before the corner or that. They haven't got any routines, they just see it on the telly. But so
I've got news for you. A lot of the Premier League players doing that routines either.
So I think, you got to be, the league has to be careful. They're very cautious of young fans, and it's just not a good look. It's not a good look for the league, but it's especially not a good look for Jamar Chase, because you just look like to your point, you've just been pushed over the edge. You're easy to get to. It's not great.
Let's have a chat about this one, right? So there was all that fuss around the draft. Shedeur Sanders was supposed to be drafted in the first 3 or 4 picks. Did he slide all the way to the 5th round, was it? Yeah. Round 5, and the Browns traded up to get him. So he's the 4th stringer headed into camp. Bizarre, right? Didn't change his attitude towards life.
No.
Still saw himself in the same bracket as Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, not even throwing a pass. So this week he gets on the field for the first time. And the stadium, I'll give him his due, erupted when he came out. Yep. Soon died off when he started throwing interceptions and looked like he won a prize to be there. But I couldn't believe this. And I mean, I'm fascinated for you to get in on this, because you played recently, right? So up until this point, the Cleveland Browns offensive linemen haven't heard his cadence at all. Now the cadence is that calling the play and then set, and there's a pattern to it. You draw the opposition offside, then they'd never even heard him do it because he'd had no reps in practice.
It's unbelievable.
That's the Cleveland Browns.
It's unbelievable. It's pivotal to the offense, how they start. It's pivotal to the whole offense, getting up on the line of scrimmage, preparing themselves and knowing what's coming. Because if you watch it when the quarterback gets under center or in the shotgun, they know. He really doesn't have to say much, because they know the time that as soon as he stands there, it's probably 2.5 seconds, and that's embedded in them from practice. But he said, go, and they just go. They don't necessarily go on his tone of his voice. They go in timing. But when you've got a quarterback who they've never heard, you're at the line of scrimmage like,
are we going?
What's the deal here, pal? Are we
It's
going?
crazy.
It's
Crazy,
unbelievable.
It's crazy.
I went to Browns training camp this summer, and he didn't take a snap. He didn't take a snap.
It's ridiculous, Neil.
And I'll tell you what it all boils down to. So Jimmy Haslam is the owner of the Cleveland Browns. You remember Johnny Manziel failed with the Browns? Jimmy Haslam told the team, I want Johnny Manziel. He's amazing. He's going to be this great superstar. Flamed out, didn't do anything. It's an example of bad ownership getting too involved. Kevin Stefanski, the head coach of the Browns, never wanted Shedeur Sanders. Never wanted him. He drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round. That was his backup quarterback. They've already got money wasted on Deshaun Watson. They've got enough headaches at quarterback as it is. The owner said, I want Shedeur Sanders. He believed the hype, and the coach said, right, when you get in my field and in my locker room, I'm having none of it. And you can see why, because there's too much hype.
The crazy thing is, though, this week he was the backup. So you've got to give him some reps now.
Right, that is crazy.
Do you know, I completely hear what you're saying and get that. And the way it's been handled this year, you can tell that head coach doesn't want him. Yeah. But when you get elevated to backup,
you've got to take reps.
You've got to now.
Yeah.
You've got to now.
You've got to take reps in practice.
Bad teams stay bad.
So does that happen quite a lot then in terms of the coach getting players that he doesn't really want? I'm thinking in football terms. Right?
Because in certain franchises, we spoke about Jerry Jones earlier. The general manager wants to be the head coach. It's his plaything. He's going to do what he does.
Generally happens to a negative. Like the New York Jets have that a little bit with their owner, Woody Johnson. So Woody Johnson last year wanted the Jets to sign a wide receiver. I can't remember who it was now. I'm thinking off the top of my head. Might have been when they signed Mike Williams. He wanted to sign him because he had a good Madden rating on the computer game. This is why these people... So the bad teams are run by owners who can't stay out of the way.
Yeah.
Coisty, what I will say is now you can see parallels to football club owners in the UK.
That's exactly
You've got
The ones that get too involved.
You've got medalists.
It's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah. It's crazy.
The best ones set up their structure.
And let people
let the football people do the football
responsible.
stuff.
Give responsibility to people that know.
I tell you, I love this one. So we like the numbers on here. The Josh Allen line this week, fantastic. 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. He's done it twice in his career. There have been over 17,000 regular season games played, and it's only ever happened 3 times, ever. He's done it twice, and Otto Graham in the 50s did it as well, where it's probably a rarity to throw 3 touchdown passes in the 1950s. But for Josh Allen to do it twice And it only happened once more in over 17,000 games. I don't know whether it's a good thing for the Bills or a bad thing. Yeah, it's great you've got him, but you need a bit more than just him trying to win the game on his own.
I mean, I wrote about him this week, and I said he's like, I could picture him putting the Superman cape on and be like, I got you guys. Because they went down 32-31 with like 12 minutes left. There was back and forth. Baker and Josh are going back and forth. And then Josh Allen just took over. And sometimes that's when all the tactics go out the window. That's when he decides, I'm just going to take off and start running and play like I'm in a playground. And that's what you want from a franchise quarterback. That's what you want from a star player in any sport. Grab a game by the scruff of the neck and say, well, there are tactics. But, I think back to I'm going to use my Liverpool bit. Steven Gerrard did that, right? Those big games where he'd just be like, well, I'm going to go win this now. I let everyone else have a go, but I'll take this now.
I saw a great clip recently on the Rich Eisen show podcast, and they had a guy, I can't remember who it was, who played with Joe Montana in Kansas City. Have you seen this clip? No. It's so cool. And they've got a real chance to kick on in the playoffs. They've never been there before. And it's against the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos under Elway take the lead. And we were in the huddle, this guy said, we're in the huddle, and everyone's looking at each other like, oh, we've worked so hard to get to this point. And now they've taken the lead, and we're not going to do anything. We've lost the game. We're not going to kick on in the playoffs. And he said, Joe Montana walked into the huddle, and he went, hey, guys, this is cool. And they're like, sorry, what? He went, yeah, let's just go down there and win this thing. And they said, just under center, cool as a cucumber, bish, bash, bosh, wallet.
Yeah. They've been there and done it.
Did you hear about his story in the Super Bowl against the Bengals? That's the second time they played Cincinnati. Would that be
so the Super Bowl 23.
23. So
88 season.
Yeah, so the game-winning drive, he eventually throws the winning score to John Taylor in the end zone. But when they get into the huddle, they're nervous. Game-winning drive, on the cards, win a Super Bowl. Harris Barton was one of the offensive linemen. Joe Montana pointed out to Harris Barton. He said, look, there's John Candy in the crowd. And he showed him from the huddle, there's John Candy, look, before he called the play. So the linemen were having a look. Spotted John Candy, went down the field, won the Super Bowl.
That whole drive. Wait, see if you can spot the massive name drop in this story. So, when I was around Joe Montana's house, on that drive, if you go back and watch that drive, there's a throw where he throws the ball about 20 yards out of bounds over Jerry Rice's head. In the middle of that drive, he started off like Joe Cool, all of that. Yeah. He got more and more excited as the drive went on. He hyperventilated. He got to the line of scrimmage and was about to take the snap, and everything was black. He couldn't see a thing, he said. So he takes the snap. He thought all I could do was turn towards the sideline and throw it as far as I could. So in that drive, if you watch it, there's a really off-target throw over the head of Jerry Rice, and that's because Joe Montana went temporarily blind. Wow. And then a few plays later won the Super Bowl.
Amazing. Do you know while you were there, did you steal anything?
I didn't.
Just so you've got something
That's
from
how
Joe
you get
Montana's
invited
house.
back, Fletch. You know? Actually, no, I did never get invited back. I should have done.
You got to take something.
I don't think you could just... I don't think as a rule to young journalists, you say, yes, if you get invited to a superstar's house, make sure you nick something.
Yeah, got to. I think you're missing out. Where do you think I get all this stuff from? What are you doing?
Costa, is there anyone that stands out in your career or in football in general? Gascoigne.
You know, you're talking about it, you think, there would be times, I mean, we'd obviously a good team, but there would be times you would look at him and say, you need to help us out here. You know what I mean? He was one player that you would look at, and you knew he was capable of grabbing something by the scruff of the neck, doing something different to make a difference. And I remember the Aberdeen game to win the league, and they 1-0 down, and we've not really got nothing about us, there's not enough about us. Then all of a sudden we looked at him and said, come on, Paul. And he just lifted it and went to a completely different level. Scored a hat-trick. I mean, it's ridiculous. So he was one of these guys, you know, if you needed something, come on.
Wow. He just had that glint in his eye, didn't he?
Yeah. He was sensational. Sensational.
That's the beer barrel being rolling around the background.
They're playing basketball behind us.
The lads playing basketball behind us.
They're asking him to stop, and he's like, I'm getting my money's worth. I'll put $1 in it.
That's so funny. Well, there you go. And what a great leveler, great icon to end on.
Oh, yeah. One of the best.
Yeah. You've got a glint in your eye now, just talking about him.
I'll have. I tell you, he's one of these guys, you get guys in your life and they get brought up in conversation. The first thing you do is smile.
Yeah.
Because it has that effect on you. And then you think of the genius as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember, and it was just to tell a quick story. Walter, my great manager and great friend, used to tell a story. And he met Billy Connolly. Funnily enough, it was in America, it might have been in LA anyway. And Billy Connolly said to him, Walter, he said, how are you getting on with Gascoigne? And Walter looked at him and went, oh. Didn't need to say anything after that. And Billy Connolly looked at him and says, but you got to remember, Walter, he said, you have to live with the genius. The genius doesn't have to live with you. He's right. He's right.
Yeah.
You've got to find a way to work with the genius.
Yeah.
Hey, let me just tell you one thing before we finish. So we had a lovely last evening together last night, Ali and myself. And off he went, smiling away ear to ear. I get back to the room, getting ready for bed, brush my teeth, phone goes. For a start, he launched into quite a tirade against the fact that he won a few quid on a certain table when I wasn't there. And he got me down as some kind of Jonah, which wasn't really nice. He then finished the conversation by saying, I am staying in the Mandalay Bay, aren't I?
Oh, no.
It's an easy place to lose your bearings.
completely the wrong hotel.
Correct.
Yeah.
You see, if we were 5 minutes earlier, we'd have come out of Pleasure and Pain and we could have picked you up.
And having said that, Vern, Nick was sat with me. He knows exactly why we got that call.
Exactly.
Yeah, he had a good night. Mandalay Bay at 3 o'clock this morning.
Well, fellas,
I thought what went on tour stayed on tour, but it's just gone on the
That's what
podcast.
I thought as well.
hey, I tell you, there will be people Googling Pleasure and Plane in Vegas. It doesn't exist. It's a joke.
If you do
all right?
Google it and go, just pick Vern's phone up for him.
And on that bombshell, we shall call it a day. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and thank you, everyone, for being attentive here in the Brewdog on the Strip in Vegas. Another podcast in the can. Thank you very much.